Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through him. It's just gonna solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
SKC with the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, is he gonna be able to find these shots true?
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an animal immediately goes back and finds skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to the CGL Season 15 Week 4 matchup of the Open Tier Division 1. And we have Subsun versus Vicious Unforgiven. I'm HD Philly B, and joining me in the booth today is Shadow Fang. My friend, are you ready for this Sunday fun day?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime a Vicious team is on the scene, you always know it's going to be a fun series. There are always so many Vicious teams in this tier. Their org is absolutely massive, so it's surprising I haven't casted a Vicious game yet this season, quite honestly. We're 4 weeks in.
Well, I'm hyped for this one as well, especially, folks, because our mid-season tournament is starting next week. The top 2 teams from each group in the Open Division will qualify for the single elimination tournament. The winner of the tournament will have 1 match win added to their overall record, so there is a lot to play for. Currently, Subsun is at 2-1, just behind OK at 3-1. However, if Subsun wins in a 3-0 today, they will overtake OK on a match difference and make it into the tournament. On the flip side, though, Vicious Unforgiven currently sitting at 0-3, so they're looking to play a little bit of spoiler and possibly earn their first win today.
No, absolutely. And I mean, being down 3 games as of right now, this starts to get into the territory where you really need to win this game just for playoff positioning in the future, because there's only so many games that you end up getting to play. So you really, really want to take this one if you're Vicious Unforgiven.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only eight matches, so every one counts. You can't just give it up because you're like, we're not making it to the mid-season tournament. We could just let this one slide. No, you need each and every win, each and every map, because it will come down to the wire. And folks, we're playing for prize money at the end of the day here, so you want to put your all on the line each and every week. We have a great map pool here for you, as well as some roster things to talk about. But right now, the maps, my friend, we're looking at Busan first.
Yeah, Busan, one of my favorite control maps personally. I love the diversity that you get across this map between downtown and Mecha Base in particular. Sanctuary is okay as well, but just the diverse amount of comps you can play on this map, as opposed to something like a Lijiang Tower where you're mostly just playing the same comp just on 3 separate maps. This one, you may play 3 separate comps on the 3 separate maps, depending on how your team decides to play.
Yeah, for sure. And then we move right along to a Midtown as our hybrid, and then New Queen Street as our push. Saravaso will be the flashpoint, and then Route 66 will be the escort. And if potentially we need to go to a map 6, we'll figure it out then. Will be most likely a control map. This is our first to 3 series, so you need to win 3 maps in order to take this one home. I believe we will go to our roster screen next just to check out some of the folks who will be playing out here for you tonight. Just looking at the Subsun roster, a few of those guys were part of the Vicious Unforgiven organization at one point. So we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But it looks like we'll go into the ban phase next.
Yeah, so first, Vicious Unforgiven getting that first ban out. And really on a map like Busan, it's up to what do you want to do and what do you not want the other team to do. That's really how you have to play this first map. Unless you know specifically something that Subsun could potentially run out on. Subsun has this player named Ruby that's particularly good at Widowmaker, so you could ban a Widowmaker here if that's something you really, really want to do. That is an option. If you just want to completely get that off the table, Widow is good on downtown, but otherwise, I feel like a tank ban of some sort would probably be your best bet. Maybe like a Junker Queen or something. Yeah, Diva. That's another one that definitely makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Diva fairly strong right now, folks. We are playing with perks, so they are unlocked here for week 4 of the CGL season 15. So maybe there are some, perk combinations that folks just don't want to deal with right now. I know Malgameta has truly been strong in the OWCS, so folks have been, maybe banning him out, not wanting him on the table. Diva, a fine choice as well.
Yeah, no, being able to defense matrix and gain shield health back, that that's crazy because you're constantly defense matrixing damage as Diva, so that's a lot of uptime to have on that character. So you just really, that's a powerful perk to have. And now here from Subsun, I would almost expect, so if you want to play a dive, you could ban out a Brigitte because that'll just make your dive strong, and if you don't think the other team's going to play a dive, or you could go for something like, I'm not too sure outside of that. I would think like a Brig or like a Lucio, something to that effect.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that as well. There it is, just like you called it, friend. You are 2 for 2. Chat, let me hear you clap it up here for Shadow Fang. That is why he is the color analyst in the booth here today. A great prediction there. I think we'll be looking at the rosters right after this. But yeah, the Brigitte, I mean, some of their perks as well are really good, especially the major perk with the critical health pack, giving those extra cookies some oomph. I mean, that's really strong.
Well, it's another thing too where Brig just can deny so much space and value from a lot of your flanking and diving characters. So if you just take that completely off the table, now we're looking at potentially a Winston mirror. There's a potential for that to be the case, and now you're at an advantage if you're Subsun if you play that composition, and then maybe Vicious Unforgiven isn't as comfortable on that dive, so they aren't going to know how to respond to you quite as well. But with that said, Subsun's lineup is out here. We've got Maple and Ruby on that DPS line, M21 on that tank, with Storia and Anthalin on that support line. Really strong team here. I mentioned Ruby already, but all these players are incredibly strong.
Yeah, I'm looking at M21. They're a rookie, and you're playing the tank, right? And that's the most pivotal position, at least for me, in the game of Overwatch. So you have to be careful, and you have to trust your team. So when you're coming into a new organization, a new roster, how do you fit yourself in? So definitely a lot of eyes on him. And then Maple is the captain of the squad as well. Anthalin used to be on Vicious, right? But left and joined Subsun, and really making their name known on that support role there. So Storia also used to be on Vicious Unforgiven. Like you said, that org has been around a long time, and it runs deep. But a lot of those players now creating their own organization, and they're doing well so far, sitting at 2-1.
No, absolutely strong start for Subsun. But on the other side, we've got Vicious Unforgiven here. We got Countries and In My Head on that DPS line with Dark Man on the tank. And then we got Soggy Moist and Giraffe Man on that support line. And now this looks like an interesting composition because I really think Wrecking Ball is very, very good right now. I think the thing is a lot of people don't. It's hard to play Wrecking Ball into a mirrored Wrecking Ball dive or any sort of mirrored dive for that matter. And I think that's just going to take people a little while to figure out how to do because Wrecking Ball is never like a meta pick. So it's new for people still, even as old as Wrecking Ball is as a hero.
Yeah, and those pictures are also just favorite characters, so not necessarily the roster they could go out with, but they might go for the Wrecking Ball, which, Wrecking Ball is one of my favorite tanks other than Winston, but I would love to see the Wrecking Ball played to great effect. Some of their perks, they're okay, right? You could do the Steamroller where you hit the tanks for extra damage or get the health pack booster, or the major perks with the adaptive shield spread or the hang time, right, and damage, but I mean, he's still a really great tank, really beefy, can be a good annoyance. And when you don't have Brig in the backline to help protect maybe an Ana or somebody who's more static, it could be a good choice. Right now, it looks like we have the Junker Queen versus the Malga.
This is actually, you would think that the Mauga, just the amount of damage that the Mauga can output is really strong here, but the Queen's hitbox is so small, it's actually kind of hard for you to just sit there, even with those gigantic chain guns, and do as much damage as you would do to, like, say, another Mauga. Like, you're able to weave those bullets a little bit better just because you're such a skinny character, and you can move so quickly, you can get on the back line fast, and if Mauga does not have healing, Mauga just falls over.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'd have to counter, with the Mauga having the double heart perk, especially on control. I mean, that's super strong to have two characters, count towards that percentage and the regeneration as well. Right now, it's Ruby, who had the fully charged railgun, but got sniped out himself. In my head, got in his head. Psychic battle going down. There's the first blood. It looks like the side of Subsun will make their way to the point. They know they're going to try to cap it first, going one member down.
And I mean, yeah, that's just a quick sojourn back and forth right there. Maple getting relatively close to this pulse bomb, so I would keep an eye on that there.
Yeah, that could be a difference maker, especially with how big Mauga is. You just lay it right on him. But with that, M21 goes down. Not old enough to enter this club just yet. And it is a triple kill for the side of Vicious Unforgiven. They are starting this one hot.
That was just kind of a steamroll from the first kill, basically. Taking that kill from in my head and just rolling it into a fight win. It's what you should do in that situation, so really smart of them to just get aggressive and push in. Not much to speak of here. Maple's getting close on that pulse bomb, and that's really about it. We got dueling pulse bombs, and that's a huge kill.
And there it is in the neutral. Maple comes up with the good, secures the elimination, which will give Ruby a little extra space to play with, working at range, but they are really low. Right now, the Mauga low as well. The axe to the face, but the cardiac overdrive keeps him alive for just a moment, but Maple cleans it up, leaking sap everywhere, and now the tables have turned, and it's Subsun who caps the point.
And I mean, that's just an absurd amount of damage reduction that Mauga gets from cardiac overdrive, by the way. That was a whole pulse bomb. I think that guy had about 25 health and still lived through that pulse bomb. Like, that's ridiculous. I cannot believe that's a character. But in any case, we are coming up on a pulse bomb overclock from the side of Vicious Unforgiven, as well as their Kitsune Rush, and Maple taking down Darkman is not going to be good for them.
Oh, he doesn't even have a chance to use it here. Maple now, he's kind of locked in right after getting that first elimination. He was like, all right, I need to turn up the heat there. Cleanse. The Suzu comes out there for the Mauga to keep the bleed off of him. I believe a Kitsune Rush now has been laid upon the point. The Fox is here to play. A deft dodge there from M21, but now he's locked in a cage with the Mauga. The chain guns are burring, and a cleanup here for the side of Vicious. They turn it.
Yeah, really good cage fight coming out there from Countries. Yeah, I think it was entirely necessary, too. That cage doesn't come down, you're probably going to see the Kitsune come out from Storia, and that fight might go completely differently. You might have the Kitsune come out, you might have the Rampage. Now, if you're Subsun, you actually have all of those ultimates available to you. Giraffe Man is going to be big time here. This sound barrier needs to be, like, pitch perfect to survive this fight with all these ults.
Yeah, it was very expensive for Vicious to win that. They spent 3 to cap the point and flip it, and now there's so many on the other side for the side of Subsun. But it's Storia who maybe have Swiss stepped off the map. They go down, and with a pixel perfect shot in my head, finds the snipe. Ruby's looking to clap back, though, with the overclock online. An ultimate expended here, but his team was already on the back foot. A desperate rampage, though, from M21X. He clatters into a couple of members. No cleanse there online, but just a perfect soundberry, like you mentioned, Shadow Fang, to keep the team in it. The point is still in the favor of Vicious Unforgiven, though. M21X just by himself on an island here.
That's gonna be a good kill, though. The Kitsune Rush comes out as well from Subsun, and that is a massive kill.
Yeah, just running them over now with the extra movement speed and cooldown reduction. Storia, they come up clutch there with a Kitsune out of the blue. They turn it right in the nick of time.
And here we are, pretty much a dry fight for the most part. We have pulse bombs from both sides, and that's really got to be the determining factor here. If you're Subsun, in order to hold this, you really need this pulse bomb to go off. Vicious Unforgiven, you'll probably get to your ultimates faster just due to where you're sitting at right now.
Yeah, this neutral game is going to be crucial, and especially with the perks now, or level minor perks are online here for the folks. So if Countries has picked the right one, he'll be on that point in a flash. And look at that, the double perk there, the 2 hearts flipping the point in their favor. The percentage is going up. The overtime wick is now procced, and it is burning. The members of Subsun have to be on the point, but they do claim 2 lives there, make it 3 here as they turn to recontest it. They're just playing a ring around the rosy here, right? And it's Maple who's tearing through him. A triple kill for the Tracer.
Oh, you always love seeing the Tracer just zip around and get those final blows all over the map. That is like the funnest part of playing Tracer, just being able to zip around and get those one clips in like that. Coming into this next fight, though, M21 getting close on that rampage, and Thalen is another one of those moments where this sound barrier has to be big time because look at all these ultimates that are on the board for Vicious Unforgiven, and Thalen's got to be really strong and good with this ultimate to make sure their team can survive through it.
Yeah, and they have to stay alive too, right? And there it is. No, I jinxed him, but I knew he was the primary target because he has the sound barrier online. These teams know how to alt track here. The point is looking to be flipped from the side of Countries. He finds Maple, the devilish Tracer there that's been a menace, a thorn in his side. The overtime wick is burning now here, and it's Giraffe Man who comes back to the point, but it's in my head with a double kill with the overclock to possibly secure this round for him. A desperate sound barrier from Anthalen, but the objective has been secured.
Yeah, that was a really close first map. Both sides played it very well, I would say. Vicious Unforgiven just had more ultimates at the end of the round, and you lost the only person to add an ultimate for Subsun early, so that was just a really good kill from In My Head. They were doing fantastic on that Sojourn the whole round, just getting those opening kills for their team over and over again, like almost every fight.
Shadow, I gotta ask you, man. I mean, the Junker Queen versus the Malga, we talked a little bit about how that matchup works between those two heroes, but what have you seen so far going through that first round?
Honestly, it's been more about the DPS than the tanks. Like the tanks just seem to kind of be there existing more than anything. Like they're there, they're in the fight, but it's more about the exchange of these DPS and who wins those DPS duels that's been determining most of these fights.
Okay, yeah, very important to make sure you secure the eliminations. You take people out of the fight, you can get the objective more easily. I do see that the Tracer got the Blast from the Past perk, which increases that Pulse Bomb radius by 50%. So they're looking to go for those sticks, but right now they have to look to stay alive as Malga charges into the backline, stomps them into the dirt, and there goes Ruby with a clean headshot. But it's M21 on the other side, goes in the backline. Both Sojourns are out. The Canadian Sergeant is eliminated, but onto the point is Countries. He has that double heart online, so he is capping this one in a flash.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, who wants to go fight that Malga with both cooldowns available? You're not going to kill a Malga with Cardiac Overdrive. It just isn't going to happen.
But he goes back to the rest of his team, uses the overrun as well. And, oh, I thought I saw sound barrier there for a second, but no, too early for that. In my head, once again, these rail shots have been clean. M21X was trying to get onto the Sojourn, but a nice Suzu cleanse him of the bleed, so he will stay alive. And in the fight, he is putting in a massive amount of damage. It's Giraffe Man, though, who gets himself onto the kill sheet. There's just a waning member, just a few folks from Subsun trying to flip the point in desperation, but really they're just wasting time here as the percent continues to tick up here for Vicious Unforgiven.
No, it absolutely does. Like you said, they're just kind of staggering themselves out now. M21 getting in my head once again, though, so good shot. It's got to be M21 getting another.
Wow, the rookie going on a literal rampage out here with Ruby helping him up from the skybox, able to lay in some damage. Yes, okay, they extended the fight just long enough, but 50, 54, 55% on the board here for Vicious Unforgiven. That's a great way to start this map.
And that's kind of like the prime example of what you have to do as the queen. You're probably not going to be able to kill that Malga very easily, so you got to kind of go past the Malga and go for somebody else and manage to get the kills, because you can very quickly kill some people with this character.
Yeah, but you have to be, your backline has to be quick, right? And a massive rampage connects onto 4. The sound barrier in rebuttal. We know that's the only way to save through that. The Carnage chops through the back of the Malga as he's running for his life. I believe the Pulse Bomb expended there from Maple as well. Malga, the Jagged Blade into him, brings him back into a fury of bullets, and he goes down. A nice fight win here for Subsun, but they expend 3 ults to do it.
A plus side there, though, you get the sound barrier out. The rest of these ultimates you can almost mirror. The thing you're going to struggle with is the cage fight. So the best thing you can do is pop a Kitsune Rush into the cage fight and just try and heal through it.
Or start off the battle with it to see if you can get an elimination first with the cage fight there afterwards. But it is Maple who's on a tear so far, but M21 does fall down. That's the tank, that's the beef, just eliminated here. The rest of the members, they're just going to die as much as they can to keep them off the point. It looks like we'll be tied in percent as it'll flip for Vicious Unforgiven.
I mean, some good stall coming out here from the side of Subsun, getting yourself a few more percentage points. You may as well. But I think that was the correct thing to do if you're Subsun. The only way that you could have beaten that cage was to Kitsune it, and then hopefully just manage to kill somebody through it. But it was just a little too much. There was the cage. Now we're pretty much even here. Both teams just about to get up on their pulse bombs, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, and that forces the Kitsune response from the other side, too. So that is also helpful to get that ultimate on the board. So kind of win it in the neutral. They know they can, especially with the likes of Maple and Ruby. Now they're making a long rotation here to the high ground, looking to snipe some characters. It's Maple who gets onto the point to kind of, say, hey, tag me, look me. I'm gonna be the little bit of the distraction here. Has the pulse ball waiting in the wings, spends the recall as well. He's chasing down Giraffe Man. He's going poaching in the Savannah, finds him. The pulse bomb still available though, looking for the back of that Malga, who's going dangerously low, tries to pop the cardiac overdrive, but not strong enough. The overtime wick now has spawned, but the tables turn and Subsun count the point.
And yeah, I mean, that's kind of another prime example of you just can't be near the Malga, right? Make it difficult for the Malga to light you on fire and get the headshots, and the Malga becomes very difficult to do much with outside of the cardiac overdrive. The cardiac overdrive is so helpful to everyone else on the team that nothing else really matters. But oh, here comes a pulse bomb.
Oh, the toss and the perk, maybe. No, the explosion radius just not enough, but another rampage. They were not expecting this as M21 had to accrue that at such a blistering pace. He gets a double kill. Storia does find themselves as well, gets a parting shot, but a pulse bomb to the face, and the subjective subcured. Oh my gosh, they couldn't get back to the point in time.
And that's what just pressuring a choke super hard like that will do for you. You'll get to the point where you don't even have to kill everybody. You're just going to kill the people that trickle in one by one through the choke that you want them to go through. So, I mean, just great positioning and fight planning overall from Subsun. It looked like they knew exactly what they wanted to do that whole map with all those fights.
Yeah, they understood the charts of the economy, right? They're like, okay, if we spend this, they'll spend this, we'll be up here. But I have to give it to M21, the rookie, who got that rampage online. They were not expecting that on the opposite side for Vicious. So that was a game-changing ultimate, allowed them to hold that choke and cap it. We are tied 1-1 here on Busan.
And here we are downtown. Teams are staying on these compositions as well. No dives coming out here, so we're all just going to send it down main and just kind of attack each other as you like to do in brawl comps.
Yeah, we are fighting it out in the streets. Gamer Boy though is calling for a little bit of a pause. I mean, this is a pivotal match here for both of these squads, right? Vicious, if they win this, that's a map, and that prevents Subsun from getting in. Even if they win this, they won't get into the midseason playoffs. So they're looking to play that spoiler there. So far, the Malga composition is working, right? They're staying on the point. They're capping it quick. It's just that ult economy they got to get in order.
No, absolutely. I think they're doing a great job of that so far. And on Mecha Base in particular, like I said, the thing that you have to do if you're running the Queen over the Malga just wants to sit there and shoot, right? What you have to do as the Queen is not play into that. You got to take the Queen and go after the Sojourn, which we started seeing M21 do a lot on that Mecha Base map. And that really prevented in my head from doing what they were doing on map number 1. But you notice there were no fights that were starting off with a Sojourn landing a rail, right? All the fights were being started off with a Carnage swipe onto a Sojourn player. So like that's more along the lines of how you're going to have to play that comp just into the Malga, just because simply due to the fact you don't want to stand there and shoot with that Malga, you're going to lose that damage fight.
All right, well, great analysis there. I appreciate it. Sorry for coughing so much, got a tickle in my throat, but we are right back into it in this pivotal round number 3. Going down main, just like you said, the disruption shot going through. The perk selection from in my head, very interesting as well. They're looking for a pick.
No, absolutely. This is pandemonium right now, but this is what's happening right now. Countries manages to get that stomp on a Maple, and that is going to require Subsun to back up now. Or not.
I don't think they'll be able to turn this one as much as M21 will try. They'll have to back off.
And that's going to be a first point cap going the way of Vicious Unforgiven. Yep, that's exactly what you would expect there. And not really much to speak of in terms of ults. In my head, getting pretty close. Storia about to have their ult as well.
I mean, but this has been the storyline for the side of Vicious. They've capped the point every single time here on Busan. It's just, can they hold it?
absolutely. Country's doing a great job of just forcing the issue on this Malga. Just realizing that, look, this character does more damage than the other character, so if I just full send it at you over and over again, we're going to win the fight. And that's kind of what you're going to have to do with this Malga. Just charge in, slam down, hit the cardiac overdrive, everybody dives in with you. You kind of play him like a dive tank. It's odd because he doesn't leave the ground, but it's kind of very similar to a dive tank playstyle.
Yeah, just charge right in there with the overrun, and then just get on top of a target and take them down. That's exactly what Diva, Winston, Wrecking Ball want to do. The Kitsune Rush expended down here from Storia. The Pulse Bomb waiting in the wings here for the side of Maple, but a Sound Barrier does come through, and it's doubled down the beat. It's a party out here in Busan. Nobody has fallen just yet here, but it's In My Head who finally gets the one taken down. The elimination secured. The Lucio dodging, bobbing, weaving. The Susu to come to save him. The peel is clean. It's M21 though, who secures himself elimination. This could be the way that Subsun turned the fight.
Oh, Darkman getting that kill on Anthalen could be huge, but it does not appear it's going to be Subsun taking that fight. But Vicious Unforgiven managed to get 74%, and all they really burned there is that Sound Barrier and the Overclock, which, I mean, Subsun burnt both of their support ultimates, so they're going to have a couple of things here for this fight. I imagine M21's going to get aggressive pretty early on with this Rampage, but we will have to see.
They have been definitely using that quite early to turn the tides, but like you were mentioning, Countries has adapted to this, and they've been pressing the issue as well. But Giraffe Man, trying to support his tank, takes his head clean off there by Ruby. But on the flip side there, it's a little bit of retaliation, and it is M21 who finds his counterpart on the tank, tries to stay on the point as long as they can. Ruby, the veteran, coming up clutch, a double kill with the Overclock.
And that's what you like to see from your Sojourn right there, getting the 2K real quickly just like that. And now Storia has had time now to build up to this Kitsune Rush, so we have a couple of dueling Kitsune Rushes, Pulse Bombs, and then we have the Rampage versus the Cage fight. I have to imagine that the Pulse Bomb is going to come out early here.
Oh, but the recall expended, they couldn't find their way in, but it left the Malga all by their lonesome. Has to pop the cage fight to stay alive here, and trapped in there with them is M21X, but they go down. It is Countries on a tear. He gets a double kill for himself. The overrun there to just batter Maple into the wall, squishes him like the bug that he is, and he cleans up this fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty straightforward strategy right there. Countries goes in, hits the cage fight onto the Junker Queen of M21, and that's kind of it. Like, M21's pretty much done at that point. You managed to save all your ults of your Subsun, though, so you do have those going into this fight, but you kind of need to make sure you don't burn all of them.
Yeah, it's a desperation play, though. They know as the overtime wick is going to start to burn. The Rampage, though, only connects onto 2. Does take Darkman down, and In My Head, so the DPS, the damage is gone. Now they're just looking for the backline squishies. That the Scattergun just eliminating Giraffe Man. Hunts him down. The Carnage goes to chop through this Malga, the Jagged Blade, as well. They do turn it, but they expended 3 to do it.
And that is tough to expend all those ultimates, but you managed to have your Sound Barrier online from Anthalen, so... Again, we're in this moment just like on, which map was it? Sanctuary, where Anthalen has this Sound Barrier. It's the only thing. Vicious Unforgiven has a few ultimates that they can respond with, so you kind of just have to play very aggressively almost with this Sound Barrier to try and get a kill before these ults come online.
And it's about Anthalen staying alive like we were talking about right on Sanctuary, and he got picked off first. In that engagement, the Sound Barrier comes out early as they were under duress, but that gives full license for Maple to find somebody. But it is Storia who actually opens up the kill feed here in this final fight. A flip, though, does come through from Vicious, which puts the overtime wick. It has to be Subsun to win this fight if they want to turn it, but it's Contreras who is staying on the point like the tank that he is, and he's just laying in those chain guns. Finds Ruby, he knows that's the veteran he has to take out, squishes them into the backline. There's Story, he's in the history books as he is eliminated. Stuck, though, a heroic play from Maple to turn the tides here. It's still a bloodbath on the point, and it's In My Head who slides up and slides down a triple kill to secure the round and secure the map for Vicious Unforgiven.
And I mean, the map ended how it began. In My Head getting a couple of headshots with that Sojourn railgun. It was consistent for 2 out of the 3 maps, and the adaptations that both teams were making as they saw what was happening was very impressive. In particular, Countries on this Malga, they just started playing so aggressive that you just couldn't ignore this big mass of a tank in front of you, and that's kind of how you have to play the character to really get the max value out of it. So yeah, I really liked what I saw from them.
be curious to see if Subsun changes their tank, right? Do they play the Junker Queen into the Malga again, or do they think that, all right, we got to go Malga versus Malga? Obviously, Control is a different story, but they might just ban the Malga out in general. So that's what you love to see with the picks and bans, but also knowing that the map pool that you have going forward. So we know we have Midtown next.
We do indeed have Midtown as our next map. We could see Malga again. A lot of teams really just like always playing Malga. But with Midtown now being an option here, you have the ability to play like a Sigma Poke composition, and that can deny a lot of Malga's value because Malga wants to shoot tanks more often than not. So just being able to throw that shield up, having the ability to eat it, and then all of a sudden you're sitting at like 1200 health as a Sigma, like there is a real thing you can do where you can just stop the Malga from being able to heal themselves for like a few seconds straight and just absolutely light them up from the other side with your poke damage.
Yeah, on the opposite side, Malga can run right through the shield, get on top of the Sig, and you have to burn some cooldowns to save him. So there's definitely some rock, paper, scissors between those two tanks. So very interesting to see what these two teams decide to do. But with that, I mean, Subsun can't get into the playoffs now. Even if they win this, they would drop a map, and that gets them out of the tiebreaker with AOK. They would both be 3-1 if Subsun decides to reverse sweep it. But like we mentioned, there's only 8 weeks in the season. Every win matters. So this match is far from over between these two squads. There's still a ton on the line between them.
No, absolutely. And another thing too, with us going to Midtown, now we have Subsun banning first. Do they just ban the Malga outright and say, well, we just don't want to see that? I mean, they could be, thinking, they could think something like get rid of Kiriko. You could get rid of, I don't think you would want to get rid of Tracer or Sojourn, because I think your DPS have been really, really strong so far. So my thought here is you either ban Malga, get that out of the way right now, or you ban something like a Kiriko.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. I mean, both of the players, the Sojourn and the Tracer, were very impactful, and you are 3 for 3. The Malga is taken out here from Subsun. They are tired of that Samoan warrior. Now it's up for Vicious to Forgiven to figure out who they are going to take out of this match.
I almost think, unless Vicious Unforgiven wants to play another rush comp besides the Malga, I would almost think you ban Lucio out here just to not allow them to play fast, because we already know Subsun likes to play that Junker Queen composition, and so getting rid of Lucio is going to make that a lot more difficult to play. You can do it with a Juno, but I just think it's going to be significantly more difficult and not quite as good to play Juno Kiriko as opposed to Kiriko Lucio.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, it's the Hyper Ring, but like how much the Hyper Ring just boosts you a little forward just for spec. But there it is. Okay, they take out the Juno, so it will be the Lucio most likely for the side of Subsun.
Okay. All right, so they don't want to see Orbital Ray. That's fair. I mean, that ultimate does an absurd amount of healing and damage boosting, so totally fair to not want to have to deal with that character. But there is also a chance, like I said, that these teams could opt for like those Sigma Poke comps, especially with no Malga here anymore. Because like you mentioned, you can go for like a dive character, but a dive character can get blown up very, very quickly by a Poke composition. So I don't know. That's my initial thought, is see something like a Bap Zen, maybe an Ana Zen. We've seen a lot of Ana Zen lately, so I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that either.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ramatra on this map as well. I'm a big fan of Ramatra, and as the tempo tank as he was, touted to be, if you do try to dive into him, you go Nemesis for him, you give him a little punch, you can poke as well. I like his perks too, helps him with some more sustain. So yeah, I think a good choice. But yeah, the backline, I think is what is most interesting for me. That Ana Zen, that can be very powerful. A lot of damage coming out from both of those guys.
No, absolutely. And since Zen can fly now, that's also a thing that occurs. I think they should just run Zen and Sigma just for the ability to float around the map with each other.
I would love to see that captured on screen, just flying through the skyscrapers of Midtown. That would be hysterical indeed, but also helps them advantagely, right? They can get to some of those high ground areas and then just pelt people down from below. So still, you know, very gimmicky, but also useful in some situations as well. So, but only time will tell as we work our way into Midtown.
No, absolutely could not agree more. And if you're Subsun, you really want to recover this map on this map for sure. Like you don't want to let this roll into like a quick loss, or a loss at all for that matter. Because again, you know, we mentioned not that many games in the season, so you want to make sure you're on your A game as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. And with sometimes teams can stall out on this map, right before second point or right before third point, right? There's a lot of momentum killers here on Midtown. And with the amount of momentum that Vicious Unforgiven have, they can roll this right through, keep Subsun on the back foot, and not let them even get a grasp into this series whatsoever. Or Subsun can take a stand here and, you know, tie the series up 1-1. We are now going to head into Midtown, my friend, and I'm excited for this one.
No, me too. I am here for it. I want to see if we're going to see the Ramatra comps just fighting each other. Maybe that's why the Juno got banned, to maybe prevent, because I think I've been seeing a lot of Juno Brig going with that comp as well. So, okay. For the moment, at least, Vicious Unforgiven is going with a Lucio Zarya Rush comp, which, again, I can't say I've seen that for quite a while, but I would not be against it by any stretch of the imagination. It looks like M21 is continuing to go for that Junker Queen, and then we're going to see the Ana Lucio coming out here, along with the Torb and the Sojourn. Now that is interesting. Torb. People have been loving Torb a lot recently, and especially for dealing with the Tracer of Darkman, I think Torb's going to be very helpful with that.
Yeah, this is going to be a strong hero. I mean, remember in the old days, he was the defense hero, right?
Yeah.
So this is exactly where he wants to be in these sort of situations. Definitely, you know, going to be hard for Darkman to navigate into the backline and find some of these picks. They give up the choke, though, to allow the turret to do a little bit of extra work, but caught in no man's land is Contrace.
And here goes Country's just kind of setting up, trying to get this bubble charge, and look at that speed. Oh my goodness.
Wow, and immediately to 90% is the laser beam, and it is just cutting right through the Junker Queen. She can't stay into that choke for even an instant without her health bar going down. And there it is, M21 run down here in the streets of New York, and it is Country's immediately onto the point. The turret is no more, absolutely dismantled, and a quick cap here for the side of Vicious. I don't think a recontest can come through.
No, especially not with that late kill coming out onto Anthalen. I really like this Zarya comp. I like the swap off over to the Kiriko as well from the Moira. So that's a strong pick. Anthalen has opted to swap to the Illari here as well, which again is interesting because M21's not really going to want to play back and poke. Okay, I like this. I like the swap over to the Ramatra. That pylon should be able to heal a lot more now because Ramatra is going to generally like hold choke points pretty hard. So I like that pick.
And it could be, you know, it's up to countries to find that pylon and take it down early and often. In my head, though, just pelting that choke point, not letting anybody come through that area. I'll be curious to look at their perks to see if they go for the same thing this time or if they go for the extended ammo, just the amount of pressure they're putting down. And it's Darkman who opens up the kill feed. They're able to knock the noggin of Anthalen on the Iliadi and take down the pylon as well.
Pylon goes down super early there. Storia getting close to this nano boost. That's really all that Subsun has. Maple getting close on this pulse bomb as well. But Vicious Unforgiven having Grav, Pulse, as well as the Kitsune Rush of their own.
Yeah, that's going to be really tough to fight into. And I would be interested to see if Countries has their first perk online, because if they choose the grav perk that, you know, sucks out max HP, that could be detrimental. But it's in my head who once again finds his counterpart. The grav just errantly thrown, doesn't get anybody into it. Backstepping here is the Ramatra, gets sucked in for just a moment. Some damage tickled onto him. The pylon found once again. A bomb explodes here in the streets of New York, and it's Maple who comes up with a good, takes down Giraffe Man. But still the cart keeps rolling on, and this Zarya is just beaming through everybody. Might have to receive the nano boost. Here is the Ramatra as they do get a little bit low. It's Ruby who once again finds an elimination here in the waning moments. The tides turn for Subsun, and they hold here at point number 2.
Country's taking down Ruby is kind of tough, though. I'm not gonna lie. This duo needs to be dealt with down here. Okay, good. That's exactly what needed to happen for Subsun. You did not need to lose any more players to that. That would have been so tragic. But great kill coming out there from Maple to finish that off as well. And now Vicious Unforgiven going to have their Pulse Bomb, Sound Barrier, and the Overclock online. But looking over here at Subsun, they've got 4 ultimates online, and Pulse Bomb's at 70%. So that's going to be a 5 ultimate bank for Subsun. They really need to make sure they're playing with their economy well here. It's going to be important.
Folks, blink now or forever hold your peace, because the ultimates will fly here in order to push the cart onto point 2. The Ravenous Vortex, though, expended early for the side of M21. They do back off nicely to give a little bit of space. They want to play around this area, force them to go onto the cart where they have some shields, the overclock. When will Ruby decide to let it fly? But it is in my head who lets it go first. The Annihilation, the nanobots, they are hungry and they're out for blood. They are looking for anybody to gobble up. They do find countries, but on the back end, it's in my head who finds an elimination again. These soldiers just putting in so much work. Finally run down here is in my head, and the Subsun, they hold once more.
That's exactly what you needed to do if you're Subsun. Look, you only used a couple of ultimates there. You held on to the Overclock, the Pulse Bomb, and the Nano Boost. So now, Vicious Unforgiven, they're going to have their Pulse Bomb. They're getting close on that Grav and Kitsune as well. We're looking at a more even ultimate fight here. You can play a little bit looser with your ults, not feel quite as stingy with them, but it's going to be important here.
Yeah, these DPS ultimates have to be impactful, and like we talked about before, this map is point 2 is where it can stall out, right? You can spend so many minutes, and it's been at least 2 that they've been trying to push the cart over the finish line here. Let's see what Maple does. They were kind of hiding in, and jumping in is Giraffe Man right into the overclock. They take that shot to the face, and finally a little bit of revenge here from Ruby. They get a triple kill here on point number 2. The team kill flies up and secured the point, has Subsun.
There you go. Quick little nano overclock, getting a few kills if you're Subsun. No ultimates burnt from Vicious Unforgiven, though, so they're playing this very smartly. They know that they're probably going to have to take this down to last fight territory, so getting in the neighborhood of it right now, but you have the Grab and the Pulse Bomb available to you, and no response available from Subsun.
Yikes, just bullied into the corner here is M21. The Pulse Ball laid on top of the block keeps him alive. That's 2 ultimates to try to take down the tank, but he retreats perfectly back to his squad. They heal him up. The Pylon has been the next target, but for their troubles, Maple does go down, but it's Contrays who is eliminated again. The Nemesis form, it's the go button here for the side of M21. They are feeling so strong after taking all that damage.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I lied. There was a response to that Pulse Bomb. It was simply M21 holding their hands up. That was the response that was needed. Good kill from M21 again. Storia getting that kill as well. And here we are. Last fight right now. And Soggy Moist does have the Kitsune Rush. That's really it, though. That's it. But Kitsune Rush is a strong enough ult to kind of roll this fight. So if you're Subsun, you need to get an early kill so that everybody can't take advantage of that Kitsune.
I'm very interested for M21. They did pick the Vengeful Vortex perk, which allows them to detonate and drag people downward instead of the healing one. I feel like the amount of pressure he's been under, you'd want to take that. But here's the Kitsune Rush. It has been let fly by the side of Soggy. There's so much pressure now once again onto the side of M21, but he is not gonna flinch for even a moment. He takes another ultimate to the face here. The Captive Sun does go flying into the back line there, but it doesn't even matter as the rest of the team just got steamrolled. A Desperation Annihilation here for the side of M21. They're trying to put their team on their back, though. Can they do it? No, it's Darkman who secures the elimination, and in the overtime, they cap the point.
And I mean, that's just a great support ult usage from the side of Vicious Unforgiven. The Kitsune just forcing everybody to kind of play back. They knew they couldn't play into it. And then Giraffe Man building up that sound barrier just in time to deny all that Captive Sun value from Anthalon. That's exactly what you have to do in that moment. M21 probably wishes they had that Annihilation back. That would have been good to have in this fight. But now Ruby has the overclock, so you do have something. Nice shot.
What? That must have been in his headphones hearing the footstep, because he just flicked and shot there to claim Darkman. There was nothing. He wasn't like Batman in that one. The Man of the Night got eliminated there. Another overclock online for Ruby, like you mentioned, but they might be waiting for Storia to get that nano boost to combo. There's ultimates once again. Here is Countries. They are lasered up and ready to go. They do find Maple, though, on the back end. That allows Darkman to get into the backline and put on some pressure.
And Country's back here too, going to hit the grab onto the Nano Sojourn, and Ruby still manages to get a kill somehow out of the grab. So that is tough if you're the side of Vicious Unforgiven.
Even the fish in the barrel can fight back. They still got some teeth, so Ruby baring his fangs there that time, but the block coming through from M21 to, save him just for a little while longer. Only 10 seconds left here for the payload to keep pushing. They have to stay on it now unless they give up the point as it stands. There's the Lucio who goes for the touch, and it is the Captive Sun as well to blow up the backline. In my head, obliterated there. A swift step onto the point to keep it ticking, but a triple kill, a quadruple kill here for Anthalen, and in overtime, Subsun holds.
And I mean, that right there, Draftman just didn't quite get the sound barrier online in time. And that's the difference right there between point 2 and point 3's end, basically. Draftman had the sound barrier on point 2. Nobody dies to the Captive Sun. Point 3 doesn't quite get there in time. And 4 people die to the Captive Sun. Insane play from Anthalen.
I love that. I mean, I was going to ask you as they capped point 2, like, what's the value of the Iliadi here? Like, what is she bringing to the table? But there it is, right? Had a ton of healing with the pylon, took some focus fire as well, and then the Captive Sun to just turn it around in the final moment. So well done here from the support player of Subsun. But now, a taller task for them. They have to complete the map, basically, in order to win this one, because the cart push was extremely far here for the side of Vicious Unforgiven. They're going to fight tooth and nail to not give up any meterage on this map.
And it is looking like Subsun is going to opt for that Junker Queen composition once again, coming out of Spawn, the one we've seen them play so much so far. Whereas Vicious Unforgiven playing the exact same comp, essentially, just with a Zarya instead. So, I mean, honestly, you almost need to burn the Zarya as fast as possible here. If you're the side of Subsun, get those bubbles out as quick as you possibly can, and just kind of run through that Zarya, because that Zarya will die so quickly as soon as those bubbles are gone.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just gonna have to the brunt of the damage, and I wonder though if M21, does the perk reset right in between the rounds? So if he changed characters, right, then he's gonna be at level 1, whereas the Zarya might not be.
Oh no, it resets for everybody in between rounds.
Okay, perfect. So then everybody's at level 1, so it doesn't matter if you switch. A nice rotation here. Sorry about that. Still getting used to the perks. A chop through, but a nice dodge there from the side of Countries. But a jagged blade as well. They're holding this tiny room. They say, come at us, and we'll play with around the health pack as well. The papers of healing flying in as well, but it's in my head who secures the elimination first. This guy just has a knack for finding eliminations.
No, absolutely. Just positioning super well on that Sojourn. Maple taking down Soggy Mist, Moist. That could be valuable, but maybe not. I imagine they'll be able to reset with their team before the next team fight actually happens. Anthalen going to go back over to the Iliari here as well. Going to try and get some value out of that Captive Sun, but just where the ultimate timing is at right now, Giraffe Man will most likely have the sound barrier online well before you're able to get that Captive Sun, so maybe that'll wrap around and you'll be able to get some good value out of it.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice here. Maybe, especially if they're going for this long rotation, why not play the Lucio yourself? And it doesn't even matter, as Ruby was late to the party, and they get taken down and intercepted here. That leaves the backline open, and with this much charge, the Zarya is just lasering through people, deleting them. My goodness.
And I mean, just look at the difference in ult charge right now. Anthalen going on to the Brigida now. So again, those perks are getting reset once again, but Brig's perks are incredibly strong. So if you can get Brig rolling here, it can be an absurd amount of healing and a lot of space denial.
And it depends on if they have the time. With only 2 minutes on the clock, can they pump in enough heals to get through those levels and get those perks online? Here is the a Nemesis form, and that's exactly what they needed to run right over the tank. But the DPS are coming up with the goods. A double kill for them. There's Anthalen, who can't find purchase in this map. In my head with a double kill as well. Make it a triple. They are putting their team on their back. And it is a 10-player kill streak for Darkman. A team kill for the side of Vicious Unforgiven. They hold once more.
And I mean, I just got to point out once again, we're still not really close to ultimates from the side of Subsun. Maple does have a pulse bomb. It's got to be like the pulse bomb of all time if you're really going to push and win this fight, though, because you're having to deal with a Grav pulse bomb on the other side as well as double support ultimates.
This is going to be really tough, especially if you cycle these well enough. I mean, there's nothing they can do. This could be sneaky. This could be devious from the side of Darkman, but he decides to go back for the rest of his squad. The Nemesis form popped once again. It is Country's run over, and there's Darkman. Finds Storia in the backline. It's the Baptiste gone. My goodness, that's a huge bulk of healing eliminated. The Ravenous Vortex placed out as well. Finally, some purchase on the point here is Subsun. Can the recontest come in with no tank? Doesn't look like it. They might just give this one up.
And I mean, probably smart from Vicious Unforgiven to just give this up. Or maybe Darkman? No, okay. Yeah. No? Oh, wait, what do I know?
Wow, Darkman with the desperation touch, enough to give his team the time to get back into it. The Kitsune Rush and the Sound Barrier popped to keep the team alive. The Annihilation, though, gets them off the point. They scurried away for a second, and the cap came through. Those two ultimates just gone to waste, and it's Ruby who gets a triple kill for them, and the cart will start to move.
You burn all of your ult economy if you're the side of Vicious Unforgiven, and in the meantime, you did manage to get the Annihilation and Overclock out of Subsun, but they built up their other 3 ultimates just with all the damage that they were doing in that last fight. So now you got to deal with the Amplification Matrix as well as the Rally, and Maple getting pretty close on this Pulse Bomb too.
Yeah, so they have to check their corners here because Maple might be lurking to toss that one in. Immediately into the backline, though, is Country's just putting that pressure on the cart carrier, basically, which will be Anthalen. Here's that amp matrix, like you mentioned, just to put in a little bit of extra healing, as well as amplify the shots from Ruby, snipping a pixel of In My Head and taking him back to the spawn room doors. The cart will keep rolling, and the high ground they hold.
And this is what you want to do if you're the side of Subsun. You almost want to go try and get another kill here, because then you might be able to... Yeah, that's what you needed. Perfect play from M21 getting Traff, man.
Wow, he dove right in there. The rally does come out from Anthalen, so they're going to be looking to turn the tides, and turning tail and running his Countries, but they run him down. The cart is moving at a blistering pace. It has not stopped for even an instant here on point number 2.
And that one single kill through the amplification. Oh, wait a minute. We have a touch.
A big touch there, but once again, they go off of it in the final seconds, and the car just inches its way to the finish line. 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock here for Subsun to get halfway through point number 3.
And now we're in the same situation Subsun was in last time. There's 3 minutes on the clock. Well, 2.5. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Vicious Unforgiven has 3, coming up on 4 ultimates. They need to make sure to not burn all of them when they're trying to hold this.
Oh, that was a close one there. The recall expended from the side of Ruby trades. The kill feed is blue and red at this moment, but we're looking at Maple. We're seeing what they can do with this. Can this be the heroic play? It looks like for now the rest of the team will back off. The headshots come through. In My Head, he's taken clean off, and back to the spawn he goes. Still, the cart is moving forward.
No, it absolutely is. We're getting up on some ultimates here, too, for the side of Subsun. We've got quite a few, honestly. Grav comes out, does get Maple.
That's a big one, especially with that Pulse Bomb on line. And it is M21. He's going in just like a maverick. He tried to get somebody as a cleanup kill, but he goes down. That's going to be some more precious seconds taken off the clock.
And all that came out was the grab. So you got the Kitsune, you got the beat, and you have the overclock available for Vicious Unforgiven. And on the side of Subsun, they've got their Amp Matrix, they got the Annihilation, the overclock, and the Pulse Bomb of their own. So I imagine a lot of ults are going to come out in this fight.
Folks, be prepared for some fireworks here, as this is the final push of the map just about, and it is Subsun. They open the killing up with 2, and it puts out the double support ultimate. An unfortunate collateral damage there, but it won't even be enough. Desperate plays from the side of Vicious, but it's Ruby who comes up with the goods again, and through the point the cart rolls. We tie the series up 1-1.
And another close map, honestly, from both of these teams. So it's looking like we're going to have ourselves a close series tonight. 1-1 going into the next map. And Thalen absolutely popping off on that Iliari for a large majority of this map. I love this Captive Sun play.
Oh yeah, this is going to be the quadruple kill for them. There it is, pop, and all the teams go tumbling over. Well done from the main support. Phew. Yeah, you were absolutely right. We do have a series on our hands. I was not expecting this from Vicious Unforgiven. Coming in at 0-3, most of the team is rookies, but they're looking like pros out here.
No, absolutely. They're definitely improving. They won a map last week against the Fiat 500 #ad team, and now they're currently 1-1 here with Subsun tonight. So two good teams in a row. They've put up like what seems to be a fairly good competition against.
Sure. We do move on to New Queen Street. That will be our third map of this series. And I gotta say, Push is one of my favorite maps because it's continuous action. It's the tug of war throughout the the entire 10 minutes. Perks are coming online. There's no reset. If you want to switch, that puts your team on the back foot. So it's just an all-out bloodbath. And New Queen Street, one of the best out there.
No, I absolutely agree. It's definitely one of my favorite maps for sure. But we will have to see about that once we get back from this short break here. We're going to take our halftime break. So we'll be back in about 5 minutes or so, and we'll see what these teams are thinking about New Queen Street once we get back.
Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and one and all, to the CGL Season 15 Week 4 Open Division Group 1 match between Subsun and Vicious Unforgiven. You have joined us at a fantastic time because the series is tied up 1-1 as we head into our third map of the series, New Queen Street.
Yeah, it's been a tightly contested series so far, and you can see right here 2-1 on Busan. They were all incredibly close maps too. Midtown being 3-2 came down to like last fight territory for Subsun to take it, so it could have went either way. So it's a tightly contested series so far. New Queen Street going to be potentially that turning point for one of the teams to really take control of this series.
And so this kind of brings us back. I mean, if you're just tuning in, there's been Malga played for the side of Vicious Unforgiven, and Junker Queen has been kind of the mainstay tank for Subsun. New Queen Street, what do you think here, Shadow? Is this where Junker Queen can excel?
I think so, but I also think if I'm Vicious Unforgiven, I'm gonna ban Junker Queen because you're gonna get the first ban as Vicious Unforgiven. So, okay, I've seen M21 play Junker Queen and Ramatra. That's the only two tanks I've seen M21 play so far. I'm getting rid of Junker Queen, personally, just due to the fact that it's a push map and you usually want to play with high speed and tempo. So let's get rid of the tank that really thrives in that environment, being Junker Queen. You can still do it just as well with Ramatra, but yeah, that's exactly what I would expect right there. Junker Queen ban coming out immediately. And now if you're Subsun, what do you want to ban here as Subsun? I can't think of something right now. I don't know if you got something off the top of your head.
I mean, that's really tough. But I gotta say, my friend, you're 5 for 5 so far, and that is an impressive stat in terms of predicting these bans, because sometimes it is hard to do. I might go with a DPS. I might take out the Sojourn, because in my head has been incredible on that character. You also take it away from Ruby, but Ruby might have a deeper hero pool. They're a highlight veteran of this league. So I might go for the Sojourn. Yeah, it's the Tracer. Okay, one of the two. That makes sense to me. Take him off the board. Maple has been doing a really good job on this character as well. So, yeah, 2 expected bans here from both of these sides.
No big surprises here, honestly. And, with it being New Queen Street, that makes sense to ban out the Tracer rather than the Sojourn as well. The Tracer's going to want to do all these flank angles and whatnot. And now we might actually see some Sojourn happening, but before that, or not Sojourn, I'll get back to that later. But before that, we've got Gamer Boy coming in to play tank for Vicious Unforgiven. So I'm really curious to see what this substitution is going to be about.
Yeah, Gamer Boy is a rookie, also the vice captain of the squad. So this is huge for them, especially such a pivotal moment of the map where the momentum might not be on their side after losing that previous Midtown map. So Gamer Boy is going to have to put on a show here. Maybe Reinhardt is what they're going to be looking for here on New Queen Street.
That would be a good shout. I would personally love to see some Reinhardt. And if the side of Subsun falls for the trap of playing Ramatra into the Reinhardt, I will be a happy person if the Reinhardt wins it once again, because I swear every time I've seen that matchup on stream, the Reinhardt has won it, like every single time.
It seems to be a classic matchup between the two. I'm just curious to see the Reinhardt perks in action, because they all seem to be really good. And so, depends on what they choose is how their play style will be influenced as we move into the streets here now. Great camera work from our producer, Head Rammer, of course, a legend of CGL. And then we have Mochi, who is also in the back end being our admin and observer as well. So shout out to both of them here as we head into game number 3.
There we go. What does it look like we're going to see right now? No surprises, honestly. Vicious Unforgiven back onto the Malga. Maybe it's just like a sort of tempo thing. They want to play at a different tempo with Gamer Boy, so that's why they brought them in to play the Malga, because I'm pretty sure Vicious Unforgiven was playing the Malga before on map number 1. But now we're actually seeing, I like this comp from Subsun. This looks almost like an anti-Malga composition. Like if I was to just make one up off the top of my head, this is something along the lines of what I would pick. Ruby being on this Sombra, EMP denying cage fight is so huge.
It is huge, but can they find their way in the backline with Torbjorn and the turret, right? As soon as you get yourself out of invis, that turret's going to be on you like white on rice. So they have to be careful about how they engage in some of these fights. Onto the high ground they go, though, to contest. And there it is, in my head, getting the eliminations first. The go button slammed here for the side of Vicious Unforgiven, and they're just looking for more.
Gonna get a lot of cart push off of this if you're Vicious Unforgiven. Just simply because Subsun is gonna have to reset at least a little bit. You gotta deal with this Sojourn of In My Head, though. You cannot just let them get the first kill every fight.
It's really tough, and especially was on Ruby. Like, that's gonna be someone who's trying to be shifty, trying to be sneaky, and they just got their head clean taken off. They're trying to find their way back in, but just the overrun just smacking into them. They do get the health back and put the virus on. The cardiac arrest popped here, and it is Gamer Boy who runs headlong into Oblivion. See you later, friend. Finally, the kills start to roll for the side of Subsun, but the cart is moving ever so forward to the checkpoint here. A nice railgun shot for the side of Maple. Into the disruption shot goes Darkman just to kind of take himself back to the spawn room doors. Whew, but 30 meters pushed here for Vicious Unforgiven.
And this is such a good response from what we saw on Busan earlier, going into the same Mauga composition. I mean, look at this. The Gamer Boy only 37% ult charge on this Mauga, all of it being eaten by the Diva of M21, just not really allowing them to get set up and do what they want to do on this character. And I mean, just great adaptation from Map 1.
And that's what you were talking about. If I could create an anti-Malka comp, this is why, and it's that defensive matrix that is just doing so much work. I wonder if they get to that level 3 perk, if they choose the one that converts the shields, and it's Maple who comes up with the goods, secures the elimination on Giraffe Man. Diving into the backline here is Gamer Boy, takes out M21 from the mech, but he doesn't care. The Bunny Blaster can just do a ton of damage as well. He's just laying in the bullets. A trade between the DPS as Ruby and Darkman do go down. Finally, Maple's trying to find something. Tries to go for the little punch to the face. There it is. The elimination secured. The bot doesn't know which way to turn.
No, it does not. In My Head missing that jump a little bit. Maple getting that nice punch. And Maple showing that they can play the Sojourn too. It doesn't have to necessarily be Ruby. And now Subsun. 6 ultimates on, or 5. There's not 6 players anymore. This is the wrong game. What game am I playing? Overwatch 1, apparently. But both teams essentially got all their ultimates online for this next fight.
And Subsun take the lead and take the checkpoint. Darkman, though, does have the lava. He's ready to spew it on the point to make sure that the cart does not move any further. But like you mentioned, the check marks are glowing here for the side of Subsun. The overclock, though, popped from In My Head, and Maple's head popped there as well. M21 decides not to let the bomb fly as he knows the fight is lost. Into the backline runs Gamer Boy as well, and he's just looking to clean up the kills, and so he does.
Yeah, that's the power of that Sojourn landing that first kill. Once again, In My Head, just allowing their team to do so much just by getting this first kill opportunity. Ruby probably just holding on to that EMP for the moment the cage fight comes down from Gamer Boy. So, I mean, if you're Subsun here, you want to engage this before the checkpoint happens.
Make sure that you keep that lead, keep the momentum, and then you decide to engage with the orbital ray. That makes Vicious Unforgiven back off here completely. It's a complete full-on retreat for the expense of one ultimate. I think you'll take that every day of the week, and you have the high ground advantage as well. The stomp comes through, but a nice shield. He blocks in the Brigitte, but the rally comes through like you predicted. The EMP immediately to shut down that ultimate. 2 characters in this matchup to just take the Mauga down. The rally inspiring the teammates to move forward and dismantling Unforgiven one by one. They do.
The Mauga is the linchpin of this composition. In My Head has been getting such good kills with this Sojourn, but the Mauga is the entire linchpin of the comp. So now we're seeing the swap come in, and we're seeing the Ramatra. I love this swap because it's just not, it's not going to allow you to get bullied quite as hard as you just were on the Mauga.
Yeah, provide a little bit of extra shield for your team. And Darkman just hasn't been able to find purchase with the turret. Seems to get eliminated pretty quickly. Giraffe Man, though, goes sliding into the backline, and he takes down Storia, sacrifices his life for it. And there it is, Gamer Boy with the switch, coming up with the goods, finds a couple elimination. The bot will turn here for Vicious Unforgiven.
And we are going to see a little bit of a turn here. Maybe we're going to get close to the checkpoint. I don't know if we're going to quite make it there. And I'm curious if Subsun is going to swap anything up going into this next fight. Looks like M21's going to stay on this Diva for the time being, but I'd be surprised if they stayed on it for the rest of the map entirely with the Ramatra being in play now.
Yeah, I wonder if they switch to the Junker Queen's band, excuse me. So maybe they switch to the Reinhardt or something else. And there's the Molten Core splattered upon the point to help maybe get it over to the check line. But it is turned. It's the DPS duo of Subsun, setting on the opposite side here. Vicious Unforgiven thwarted once again.
And absolutely just great aggression from the side of Subsun, knowing exactly when to push in. Vicious Unforgiven, having that overclock online, having the sound barrier online, you got to watch out for In My Head. We know how consistently they have been hitting these railgun shots, and so just you have to be watching for that ultimate.
Yeah, and the Sojourn, it looks like they've picked the overcharge perk here as well, which will help them with that ultimate if they decide to expend it. The Soundberry, though, expended here for the side of Giraffeman to keep his tank alive. The Orb Array now in for the side of Subsun, but it is too late to keep M21 in this match, but not too late for his team to turn the tides, and it's on the back of Ruby. Who else to secure elimination after elimination? Oh, but they tried to contest In My Head, but he finds another headshot. It is just a bloodbath here over the bot, but I think it is Subsun who wins out.
It does indeed end up being Subsun, and if they can just walk forward, make sure they get this forward spawn for their team, that's all you definitely want. As soon as you get that forward spawn, just turn right around, regroup as a unit, and now we've got the Annihilation available, getting close on the Kitsune Rush from Soggy Moist as well. The only thing that's really available is the Overclock and the Rally.
The rally could be good, though, just to help against the Kitsune Rush and get you out of position there, and they go right into it. Is Gamer Boy, he has the Annihilation online, decides to pop it now. He's just toggling between fists up and fists down just to stay in the fight as long as he can. The hack does come through, but it is tickled out of him. Puts in the Ravenous Vortex as well. He's trying to stay on the point as best he can to move the cart forward, but just so much damage coming through. Eventually, he falls, and as you predicted, M21 switching over to the Ramatra themselves, and still Subsun, they just roll over Vicious Unforgiven here.
And it really feels like Subsun figured something out in between the last two maps, because it seemed like a lot more just dominant of a performance so far. The Mauga comes back out from the side of Vicious Unforgiven because M21 has swapped to the Ramatra. So we're probably, if M21 loses another fight, we're probably going to see M21 go back to Diva, and we're just going to play this back and forth until the two tanks decide what they want to play.
It's that rock, paper, scissors of the changing of Overwatch, right? The merry-go-round of tanks, but it's the perks now that can kind of add a little wrinkle into that. Do I want to give up my perks? Are they that impactful? But right now, Gamer Boy has changed over to the Mauga, like you mentioned, but it's M21 who has the Annihilation, who's about to come up here. He could use that to press the issue, as we're just fighting over here in the neutral.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Subsun, you'll take this all day. Oh, and here comes the pin in from Gamer Boy.
He's diving right in there. The aggression is not going to be lost on him, but an immediate pop of the Annihilation like we talked about, and it's In My Head who finds a headshot once again. This guy cannot be stopped. The Annihilation now has expired as nobody was caught in the nanobots' range, but still the bot is just teetering on a nice edge between these two squads. A nice switch here from Darkman going on to the Reaper, the epitome of Darkness himself. He finds a kill there as well. I think Vicious will be able to turn this one now.
It definitely should go the way of Vicious. Subsun can back up, get a good reset going here, and honestly, you've got your EMP, you've got the orbital ray available, but at this point, you should probably just hold the EMP for the cage fight, and there goes the Diva swap, because, like I said, I imagine both tanks are like, this is what we're doing now, I guess.
Well, with only 30 seconds left on the clock, I don't know how many more changes can come through. The butt scratch has commenced for the side of our push bot here. Now he'll start moving himself forward just a little bit. But you're right, the ultimates are in play for both sides here. Let's see how Subsun decides to use it. They might just get a pick right out the gate. There it is, the Kitsune used here from Soggy to kind of just press the issue, move the bot ever so forward. And if they're not careful, Subsun can let this one go and contest. Here is the orbital ray as well, but it's immediately Gamer Boy squishes Ruby into the dirt. Maple finds one as well. Giraffeman, he's pelting them as best he can. Here's the cage fight, but there's no EMP to counter it, and it's a massive ultimate for the side of Vicious Unforgiven. Locks in everybody. M21, there's nothing he can do. He lets the bomb go, but no explosion happen. happens, excuse me. Oh my gosh, what? Through all that, Subsun wins.
And there you have it. Maple getting that overclock kill onto Gamer Boy was really the key to me in that fight. This might be Maple's overclock from just now, quite honestly. This is really sick play. Oh no, it was earlier in the game. But yeah, Maple getting that kill onto Gamer Boy, just denying that Malga damage, even with the cage still being up, it's not quite as scary when you don't have to deal with the Malga shooting those two gigantic chain guns at you, you know?
Dude, I don't even know what happened to Vicious Unforgiven. How did they, where did they all go? I don't know how they got those eliminations. I thought there was a Diva Bomb that came out, but I missed Saul or something, some visual clutter there. But my goodness, yeah, in the waning moments of the match, Subsun, they don't sweat it. They know what they can do. They find the crucial picks to just have the composition crumble beneath them. They clean it up. They hold it right at the final moment, and they find themselves up 2-1 in the series.
And I mean, now they've essentially said, okay, if you're going to play Malga, we're going to play this. This is just what's going to happen now, right? We'll turn around and go back to spawn and just go swap to these characters if this is really the way we're going to play this. So I get the feeling that that's the plan right now. And it might mean that Vicious Unforgiven needs to try something besides the Malga going into the next map, but we will have to see.
Yeah, and Subsun have already banned the Malga once, so they can't ban him again, right? And I don't see Vicious Unforgiven banning the Malga at all, so the Malga will be here. It will be in the pool for us to play. On the flip side, though, the Junker Queen will be available here on Saravasa, our Flashpoint map, and I kind of like Junker Queen on Flashpoint. We saw how well they did on Control, so I'd like to see them run with that composition, but if they go into the Malga, they might decide to play that Diva again.
There is a possibility of that, for sure. There is another thing that can happen here. With the ban upcoming right now from Vicious Unforgiven, if I'm Vicious Unforgiven, I'm just going to ban Sombra. Like, I think that's probably the play here. You ban Sombra this map, and then you save the Diva ban for map. Oh, you already banned Diva. Never mind. There is no Diva ban available, so they already took part one of the plan. At this point, you have to ban Sombra, like right now, because that's the thing that's really stopping you from playing the Malga super effectively, is just having your entire ultimate just be negated every single time.
Yeah, but I mean, in that last fight, they did find Ruby out early, and they took the MP off the map, and the cage fight did find some value there, so maybe they kind of gamble on that. They roll the dice and say, okay, we're going to play to find the Sombra because they know we'll play into it. On the opposite side, they could go, I would see Subsun go with the Sojourn ban, possibly, just because in my head it's just been so lethal on that character, but it is a Vicious Unforgiven who decided to ban out the Sojourn. What?
All right, I don't see the vision here. I'm not sure what the vision is. I don't know. I need different glasses, a different pair of contacts or something, because I don't quite get it. It feels like in my head has been winning the Sojourn duel more often than not, but yeah, maybe they just don't want to play that composition as a whole anymore.
Or maybe they're subbing him out for this next match, but this is, game point essentially. Why would you take one of your guys who's literally on fire and take him out of the match? So yeah, it's a head scratcher here. Only the players know, and it is the Kiriko being banned out here from Subsun. That's one we've kind of been teetering on each and every match. Like, will she be banned this time? Will she be banned this time? Here for map 4, she's out.
It's pretty much only a matter of time. We're going to see Kiriko, Juno, potentially even Lucio get banned. It happens almost every match, so I'm not surprised to see this. Both teams have been using the Kiriko so consistently that now you're kind of forcing it to go more towards like a Brig Juno type of composition instead.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, and I like the Juno moving, helps move the teams around the map, and then Break can fight on the point in some of these scrappy engagements on Flashpoint. So yeah, I think that's a fine composition to go. Sojourn taken out, but that leaves the Tracer to be back on the board. I would expect Maple to have a field day out here at Saravasa.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think this might open the door for a Soldier 76 as a possibility. I think Soldier works really well on Flashpoint, generally speaking, But the only thing is, if you're gonna run the Tracer, Tracer and Soldier are kind of like the same character in a sense. The way that you want to play them, at least, you kind of just go on like the off angles, just kind of shoot and just run away. So I don't know. It could be an option if they decide to go hit scan, or we could just see Tracer Sombra. Like, that's also a thing that could be happening.
Yeah, Tracer Sombra, especially if Subsun anticipate the Malga to be coming through again, right? Then they know they're going to lock into Sombra. Okay, how else do we handle this? We go with the Tracer. But that's like 2 backline divers, etc. But then maybe Ruby might play a little bit more reserved. They might stick with the team a little bit, try to farm up some EMP charge that way. In terms of Soldier, I like his perks, especially on flashpoints where you want to sustain on the point. I mean, you can put down the biotic field, which helps, you know, heal allies and things like that. Use the stim pack perk, things like that. So you could be playing that like utility Soldier. You don't really see too much of it, but it's a possibility. You never know. You could throw a wrench into the plans and just sustain long enough to cap the point.
Like I said, I'm always partial to that character on this map, but then that's usually when there's not a Tracer available. With Tracer being available, I feel like it's not nearly as likely as it would be if Tracer was banned, for instance.
Fair, yeah, that's a good point. So some tactics, right? Knowing the map pool, you know when you can ban some characters and when not to. So banning it in the previous match, saving it for this one where Tracer can be really effective, I think was a good call, so to speak. But Servasa, Flashpoint, very challenging. I mean, do we expect this to go to all 5 points? Do you think this will be like 3-0? I think it's going to be 3-1 between these 2 squads.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't think we're going to go full points. It looks like we're seeing a sub come in here. KBS coming in on that DPS line. Their favorite hero is Tracer, so maybe they're coming in to play that Tracer, just kind of pop off a little bit, you know, get some different vibes going for the team. That could be it. Or they could be playing a different hero entirely. This could be like a sub for somebody to come in and play Mei or something, you know, some specialist hero. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely could be. So it's Darkman who will be taking his spot on the bench, and KBS, another rookie here for Vicious Unforgiven, will be making their way onto the battlefield. And folks, when I say rookie, it doesn't mean they're new to the game. It just means they're new to CGL, or at least our platform's history and the name that they're using. So still a very skilled player here is KBS. I would say, yeah, probably the Tracer, especially because it's not banned out, is what he's going to play.
Yeah, definitely incoming here. Is there a chance that we see something besides the Malga? We've seen a little bit of Ramatra, but it feels like that's about all we've seen from Vicious Unforgiven is either Malga or Ramatra. That's about it. I'd like to see something different, but it just feels like those characters are kind of like the, you know, top tier sort of picks at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tend to agree, absolutely. I would just be curious to see if M21 goes on the Junker Queen, and that is exactly who they are hovering in this moment. We're seeing a Hazard, though. We haven't talked about this character at all this series. An interesting pick, so if they choose it. Oh, nope, okay, never mind. Forget everything I just said.
Yeah, we're looking at a Malga now. Also, the Kiriko ban being impactful in this way as well. You want to play Junker Queen, you know they're not mirroring your Junker Queen. They no longer have Suzu available, so it can be a lot easier to try and just bait out a sound barrier as opposed to having to bait out just multiple cooldowns and a sound barrier. So I like this for Subsun. It's going to play really well for their comp.
Yeah, and Maple can farm up that ultimate quickly and then use it to bait out the sound barrier, and then the Rampage is free and there's no Suzu to cleanse it, so you can just run away with some of these maps, but you have to stay alive through the onslaught, and there they go. They find In My Head immediately because there's no Sojourn. And Cassidy has to just try to roll away, but rolls into his grave. There is the Cowboy, the deflection there from KBS, a specialist, like you mentioned, on the Genji.
Yeah, that makes sense, just bringing them in to play a different hero, but Genji, there is not a super good target for a Genji right here. This is hard for Genji to get some kills into. It's going to be really difficult. It's going to require like a crazy pop-off play for KBS to get some kills.
And maybe they're kind of locked into it right now because they're fighting over the point, but if they do die, maybe he decides to change it up there. But is Ruby just, oh my gosh, a little gnat there just sucking the blood out of everybody, finding kill after kill, finds this Lucio, it's Giraffe Man in the small room, and M21 just cleans him up. Still, the point keeps ticking here for Subsun.
And Subsun just playing with so much speed, Vicious Unforgiven can't deal with it. And now, because that Sojourn, that mobility is now gone, the cast can be dove upon, and you have enough speed to just get on that cast as soon as possible. And that's what we've seen time and time again so far.
And then, like, how are the supports going to peel for him, right? There's no Brig to help, like, protect or anything like that. So the Cassie's just on his lonesome, and there it is, in my head, eliminated first again. Now he knows to get a taste of his own medicine. It's Gamer Boy who jumps into the back line, but it doesn't even matter. Just dismantled here is Vicious Unforgiven, and point number 1 goes for Subsun.
Oh, this Sojourn ban is turning out to be so good right now. We're seeing In My Head swap immediately over to the Tracer, so now we're going to see Ruby and In My Head duel again, just this time on Tracer. So a totally different sort of duel than with the Sojourns.
Yeah, definitely not as much like that one shot, like hit like from range potentially. Really have to get up there and try to one clip. But it's Anthalen with the torpedoes. Finds the side of Gamer Boy, and at least I believe a Rampage just went through the ranks of Vicious Unforgiven. They will need to repent for that one. And a team kill here for Subsun. They are just rolling through Saravasa.
I would like to point out Ruby stuck In My Head on the Tracer after the recall came out. We didn't catch it on camera, but it did in fact happen in the meantime there. So I just want to say that's the most worth pulse bomb ever. It is every single time it's done.
The disrespect, honestly, between the two doing that after the recall is expended. And a recall expended again there from In My Head, just put under so much pressure. The game plan has changed for the side of Subsun. They know who their target is, and it's In My Head each and every time.
Yeah, the cast just doesn't have that mobility, and now Gamer Boy just getting poked out immediately, and the sound barrier coming out too from Giraffe Man.
And a little too late as well to keep their tank alive, and M21 is having a field day out here. He doesn't even care. He wants to take the bullets. He wants to take the aggression, and yeah, they let him cap it, but not for long. Subsun flips it back.
And this is just like a death ball comp right now. Maple getting another kill on this Reaper. Everybody from the side of Subsun is just grouping up and just full sending it at somebody every single fight. Now that In My Head isn't on that cast anymore, now we're seeing it onto Gamer Boy on this Malga. Someone is just getting it full sent at them fight after fight after fight.
He's such a big target, right? It's hard to miss, especially with those Hellfire shotguns. And they have to aggress onto the point. They have to come and try to cap it. Here is the cage fight there to lock in 2 members. And 2 members do go down. But M21X with the speed boost, the Hyper Ring, tries to move themselves around. But they will go tumbling into the abyss off the back of a massive cage fight. They flip.
I mean, that's what you expect from the cage fight, right? The bad part here, if you're Subsun, is you burn your 2 support ultimates, so you do not have those for the next engagement. And now KBS has this Death Blossom. You got to watch for this Death Blossom. It could be big time. That's all Vicious Unforgiven has, though, so you do have the ultimate advantage in that regard.
Yeah, but there's also Death Blossom on the other side, and he might just let this fly early. The Death Blossom let go from both Reapers, but it's KBS who gets the better of his counterpart. And there it is, another fight win here for the side of Vicious Mockery. I don't know if Subsun will be able to cap the point in time to flip it before it gets tied up 1-1.
Nah, you're probably just wanting to back up, regroup if you're Subsun, just head on to the next point. You got a Rampage available. That's about it, but you do have a Rampage available, and that alone can definitely win you a fight because there are no support ultimates available for the other side whatsoever, and obviously the Kiriko's been banned, so that's really the main thing that's saving the Rampage right now.
Yeah, so look for M21 to put the team on his back, though. He's going to really want to press the issue here. He's just going to wait for the proper moment. Wait till they're all lined up in the cone. He might see it there. Can he get somebody with the Jagged Blade? No, nobody picked out a position just yet. The Hyper Ring gives him a little extra speed. He goes to the back line. The Carnage to chop the Juno in the sky. Still, he holds on to the Rampage. Finds the Malga in the back line, pestering his support. So he tries to go cut through him as well. The Jagged Blade to drag him back. And there it is, the Rampage. But it's stopped. It's stunned there from the side of Giraffe Man. Yes, he sacrifices his life, but he keeps the ultimate from running through his team. That's such a turn of events here. The support line coming in clutch.
I mean, yeah, Giraffe Man doing the most right there. That is That's the only thing that could have won that for your team. Ruby getting the one clip on In My Head, though, this could be turnable.
Yes, it could be. It's still there are 4 members for the side of Subsun on the point, and his M21 still at full health as well. He is just cutting through people. He doesn't even care. 2 perks online for him. 40% here for the side of Vicious Unforgiven, but finally Subsun, they flip it.
You have both the perks available for the Junker Queen. This is where it gets kind of crazy to kill this character. That Carnage giving you 100% lifesteal is the most absurd thing that I think I've ever said out loud. I cannot believe that exists. That is so much healing that happens. You can cleave through like 4 people, and that's like all the healing in the world.
Yeah, and especially because it resets depending, like, you know, the cooldown is reduced depending on how many people you get. So you can just keep healing yourself up, and that's why they have so much sustain. The cage fight expended doesn't lock anybody in, but does lock the point down. It flips here for Vicious Unforgiven. Maple, though, they're looking to get onto the point, but it is KBS we're looking at is a huge Death Blossom. Clatters onto the point. It's blasting into everybody. The rebuttal here from Maple now. He tags a few folks as well. They go tumbling into the spawn room doors. Flip here for Subsun. My goodness, the ultimate's expended.
No, exactly. So many ults expended from both sides. But Maple having that orbital ray available to them was just the extra damage that they needed to live through it and manage to get those kills. M21 having this rampage online is exactly what you need, though. Of all the ultimates to have as just one, that's the perfect one, because there's no rally available this time. This should be a pretty free charge.
Unless Giraffeman can stand his ground like he did last time and just bash him right out of it, so he has to be careful. But I believe there it was. The Rampage expended connects onto 4, and there just cut down is the side of Vicious Unforgiven. A team kill for Subsun, and they cap point number 3.
And yeah, that's exactly why you have that ultimate. Like I said, no rally available. You can't stun him out of it anymore. So it's just a free charge. And now Ruby getting close on that pulse bomb. You're probably going to have the orbital ray available too if you're Vicious Unforgiven. That can be kited if you're Subsun. The main thing here, if you're Vicious Unforgiven, you cannot die to this pulse bomb that Ruby has.
It's going to be big. We're looking for a juicy target, and you're absolutely right, especially on this point of all points. That orbital ray, you can definitely kite around it, move undercover, and make sure it gets no value. These teams just waiting for the point to be unlocked here, and there's Ruby looking at the backline. Oh, he thought about it, but decided against it. Here, the torpedoes, they're locking onto a couple of members, healing them up as well. The orbital ray expended here, though, Shadow. Oh, no.
Yeah, it got kited just like we expected, and Ruby still not letting that pulse bomb fly just yet, but there it goes there.
Bada bing, bada boom, and there goes Giraffeman. Exploded KBS with a Desperation Blossom, but he gets eliminated out of it as well. It is Ruby who's just running train through everybody on this point. Yes, Vicious Unforgiven had it for a certain amount of time, but now it flips to Subsun, and they are firmly in control.
Absolutely. We're looking at a cage fight and rally available from the side of Vicious Unforgiven. In My Head has swapped back over to that Cassidy. That gives Subsun a more concrete target to go on every fight. So, and now engaging into this next fight, I would have to imagine we're going to see Maple probably go for this Death Blossom at some point pretty soon here.
And the Cassie's there because they're trying to deal with this Tracer, right? And there it is. The cage fight popped early, but right into the unsuspecting Death Blossom. It gets rid of the cage, and still Maple stands tall there, pelting the bullets into Gamer Boy. He is gaming no longer. The rally just not there enough to keep him alive. Giraffeman trying to stand tall, but he gets cut down to size as well. Oh my gosh. Toppled once again here is Vicious Unforgiven.
And I mean, once again, In My Head does get Anthalon, which is a tough loss, but you got Rampage available. That's the big key here. Anthalon should be back in time to pop the orbital ray as well. And I mean, if you're Subsun, you just go super early here and just send it at them before Vicious Unforgiven manages to get their ultimates.
Oh, the Jagged Blade brings the Malga out of position. He has to go for the overrun, and it does tag 2. Here is the Rampage, and M21 looking so clean on this character. Nobody can stand a chance. The overtime wick burns, but there's nobody alive. Subsun, they win this 3-1. They win the series 3-1. They move to 3-1 in the overall standings. Well done from them.
And great performance from Subsun. They recovered so well after map 1. They really figured out what to do against that Malga and how to play against it much better. I guess they just had to see it for a map, and then they were like, I understand it now. Because that's what it seemed like, at least.
Absolutely, yeah, I 100% agree, and that's huge. Being able to adjust on the fly like that and understand how to just pick apart the opposite team. I mean, being able to do that mid-set, that shows the definition, at least to me, of a sign of a great team who's with great coaching and great captain leadership. So well done here for Subsun. Like we mentioned, they moved to 3-1 on the season. Not enough, I believe, to get themselves into the mid-season tournament for group number 1, but still, a win is a win is a win. That'll help them in the overarching grand tournament towards the end of the season.
No, absolutely. You want to win as many games as possible just to help with your seeding when it comes to playoff time, because you're going to be able to pick your opponents if you're a higher seed, and you definitely want to be able to pick your opponents as opposed to being someone that gets picked.
Yeah, for sure. Well, folks, you know how we do it here at the CGL. We will have an interview for you from one of the members of Subsun, so stick around for that. We'll see you in just a few.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave.
Welcome back, everybody. HD Philly B and Shadow Fang just watched a fantastic series between Subsun and Vicious Unforgiven. We have Maple, one of the DPS players from Subsun. My friend, my first question for you is, that was a really intense match with a lot on the line. How are you feeling after that one?
Oh, it was an intense match. We spent half the time just deciding what we should do. Vicious was just a completely strong team. it really just came down to final fights almost every map. Luckily, we were able to pull through just barely, but I'm still pumped after that. Such a strong team.
The adrenaline is rushing for sure.
Well, and then just relating to how stiff of a competition it was, what would you say was the biggest difference between maps like 1 and 2, 3, and 4, where you all managed to take the wins on those maps, as opposed to map 1, where it was a close loss on Busan?
Map 1, we weren't communicating enough. We didn't call targets, we weren't able to jump on one person at a time, and we just really didn't know how to play against Amalga. Luckily, we started, calling targets, jumping on them, ult tracking better. It just came down to communication.
Yeah, no, communication can definitely be key, especially when dealing with a Malga comp like that. And then for my follow-up question here, what did you think about the bans in this match? With it being a more competitive match, like you were saying, do you think that those really played more of a factor than normal?
Oh, for sure. I really liked it. It felt much more dynamic, and we could play against things that we wouldn't normally see, as well as ban things that were doing too strong against us and we didn't have a counter for. I feel like it was a great addition to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you had Shadow and I throughout the whole series. We could analyze that, wrote a thesis paper on how these bans were working out. My final question for you, I always like to keep it fun, keep it light. Who's your favorite DPS character and why?
DPS? Oh, I love Reaper. I picked my one trick on Saravasa. I don't know what it is about him. I like the lifesteal. I like the fact that I can get out pretty easily, and just being able to rotate with one ability. Yeah, it's risky if you're in the middle of a fight, but it's kind of like a tracer. You can just go around the map and do these stupid flanks.
So mobility and being pesky, some of those favorite attributes of that character. Love to see it. Finally, Maple, who would you like to shout out here while you have you on the interview?
I think I have to shout out M21. On Saravasa, he just got 5k after 5k with his ults. It really just won us that entire map.
Yeah, the tank player looking clean on the queen there to help you guys secure this victory. We were just talking about in our green room before this, maybe there's a potential for you guys to actually make the midseason tournament. It might go down to the 4th or 5th tiebreaker to see if you guys get that spot. So everybody, I'm sure, on the team will have their fingers crossed. We have them crossed for you as well. So folks, check out those leaderboards in maybe an hour or so to see if Subsun makes it through. Maple, thank you so much for joining us here today. An excellent job on your game. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, my friend. For folks of the CGL, it's been an absolute pleasure to cast this match for you. Shadow, great to be in the booth with you as well, from Headrammer and Mochi on the back end, helping us produce and observe this fantastic series. There's more CGL action coming up for you this week, and it's the mid-season tournament. It is one you don't want to miss. Friends, we'll see you then.